Does your elevator look like this? Or maybe like this if it's fancy? Well, you've come to the right place, because in today's video I'm gonna show you how to make a actual working elevator that also looks pretty cool. So, let's get right into it. So in today's video I'm gonna be showing you 3 different elevators that you can make in your world using commands. So this first one is extremely easy. All you're gonna need for this one is a button and 2 command blocks. And to start off, you're gonna place a button wherever you want to go up, so this will be what makes you go up. And this one's built up very similarly to our last one. And before we do anything, you're gonna want to place 2 blocks over here, 1 block under the floor, and you're just gonna type in these coordinates that you see. So for me, that's 179, 34, 74. And you can do this elevator how big you ever want. As long as you get the 2 corner blocks, you will be just fine. So now that we have typed down those coordinates, we can finally get back to the button. Now behind the button you're gonna place a command block, and in this one you're gonna type in /effect @p levitation 7/4. Now this is a pretty simple command. The 7 symbolizes how many seconds we have it for, and the 4 symbolizes how fast we're going. So in this case we will get levitation 4 for 7 seconds. And you can of course mess around with this however much you want, depending on how fast you want to go in the elevator. Now after you've done this, you're going to place another command block. Now this one's going to be chain always active. And the delay in ticks is where the math comes in. So 1 second is 20 ticks in Minecraft, at least in Bedrock Edition. And so to get that, you're just going to take the amount of seconds you have times 20 and then put in like an extra 5 ticks down here. After that, you're going to be doing /fill and then all the coordinates you wrote down earlier, and just write something like planks, for example. And boom, we're already gonna have a pretty wonderful elevator. So you can see we're going up, you can move around and stuff, and then as fast as we drop, the floor comes and catches us. Pretty satisfying and pretty simple to do. And if you want to get it down, you just do the exact same thing but just replacing the levitation with slow falling and setting it to 0 at the end, and switching out the block you had at the end of your last command with air. And now you can get down safely as well without taking any fall damage. This next elevator is extremely cool and probably one of my favorite designs. Well, if it actually moved. But that is exactly what we're going to be making use out of. We're going to be making use of these sound commands. And this elevator might even be easier for some people than the last one, because it's just so simple. Now, truth be told, this is actually just a standard dirty teleport command, but it's actually the sound effect that makes it feel more like an elevator. So let's walk through them. So starting off with the door opening, this is actually pretty simple. You're gonna start off by getting both corners of your area. So this is 1 corner, this up here is 1 corner, and you're just gonna type those coordinates down. After that, you're gonna place a button on the outside, of course, and then place a command block on the other side of the wall that says /fill. Type your coordinates down there and then do air. This will make it so whenever you push it, it will open. Now for the sound effect, I just used a simple /playsound command @p, and I have linked a website down below that has every single effect in the game, so you can freely choose what sound effect you want. Once you get inside your elevator, you're obviously going to want the door to close. Now that's pretty simple. It's the same exact command blocks as earlier. Just replace the air with smooth stone, of course. And this way you already have a pretty neat little opening and closing door. Now we want to go up. Now as I already said, this just uses a standard teleport command. So if you're happy with this, you can easily just put a teleport command right after. Make sure it's a chain, and then you're done. However, I personally like to add a little bit more effects, so in this case I actually am going to use another playsound command with a little bit of a delay, and then do, in this case, the minecart.base effect. It's a pretty good good effect, and I'm going to place a few of these actually, and then after that I'm going to place my TP command, but just with the higher up coordinates. Now if you want these doors to open up here automatically, then all you gotta do is to go down here, and after your teleport command, do another fill command just like we already did to open the door. Get the coordinates from both corners of this door, often it's right above, and then place a nice little ding effect over there as well. And so altogether it should look something like this. Now if you want to go down with this, it is literally the exact same command blocks, but just replacing some of the coordinates for, of course, the door opening and the teleport. But let's move on to the biggest one. And this biggest one is definitely a jump in difficulty, because it definitely has a lot of commands going for it for what it does. But it is a pretty cool actual working elevator, which is really cool. And it uses some elements from the last one, of course, like the doors opening automatically. So let's walk through this. Now while it looks really bad, it's actually not that bad at all. Just using a little bit of the same commands, that's kind of the whole point. So the first thing you're gonna do is, of course, make your elevator. Now the best thing is probably to make it a 4x4. It doesn't really matter how big you make it, but I would recommend doing that because that's what I've gone with, and therefore it's easier to follow along. Now just like always, you're gonna get the space diagonal, which is from this floor all the way over to this block over here. Now in short, what this does is it uses a levitation command along with a bunch of clone commands to make it feel like you're going upwards, which you actually are. So first command that's not familiar is going to be after the sound effect command for this door down here. After the door has closed, you're gonna do a TP command, and you're gonna type it, and you're gonna make sure that you TP slightly above this first elevator. Because of this, it's good to have some sort of wall in front of the windows, so it doesn't look as unclean. Now the command after the teleport is another levitation command, which we already covered. It just gives the levitation command in this case for 9 seconds, and it gives the speed of 4. Now after this command, it gets interesting, because the next one is a /clone command. Now these look very intimidating, and they're actually not that difficult. So let's walk through all these numbers. The first 6 digits are all different corners that we already talked about. The coordinates of this corner down here, and the coordinates of this corner up here. Now these final coordinates is actually where you want it to clone. So for example, in this case, I of course want this whole thing to clone up 1 block at a time. And you get this by copying the exact same coordinates from the first ones, but switching out the middle for one of these squiggly lines. Now what the squiggly line means is basically that it's gonna copy it to exactly the height of the command block, which in this case is exactly what we want, because this command block acts as a good floor. And after you've done this first one, you can just clone it all the way at the top, thinking that each of these command blocks symbolizes the floor. So when it's at this command block, it's gonna be at this level right here with the floor. And therefore it actually makes you go upward. Now the timing with the levitation effect can be difficult, but I typically just have a 0 delay. After that, if you teleport to exactly what block it's gonna start on, then you're gonna be just fine. Another thing to note is that the delay in ticks, apart from the first clone command, are all 7s for me. Now this is gonna change for you depending on what speed you have, because if your elevator goes really fast but you don't have the levitation to keep up, you're just gonna glitch through the floor. Anyways, going all the way up to the top, these 3 final ones actually have a different one, and that is what we already talked about, which is of course that it opens the door, plays a sound effect, and then I also have actually that it cleans this whole area out, which is a simple fill command. And the reason why is because you can see it actually clones upwards all the time, and therefore it's just nice to get rid of these blocks in the middle. And going down is the exact same. Just a simple command for closing the door before, and then of course cloning this structure down here to the same level as it is on right now. And there you go. 3 different ways to use commands to make your world look very cool with these elevators. I know I went over the last one pretty briefly, and that is because it is quite an advanced build, and if you are building it, that most likely means you're already quite familiar with command blocks. Anyways, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like. That is of course very appreciated. Make sure to subscribe. We recently hit 1000 subscribers. So if you want to help us get to 2000 subscribers, definitely consider subscribing. Anyways, that is it. Subscribe.